Teaching is so much fun. I love being around the kids. I love being an art teacher. So many teachers just, they teach, they fall into that rhythm of teaching, and they don't really do their rewarding part of their life because they're so involved in what they're doing in the classroom. The way I got started was probably, working with my mom. She always sat down and put puzzles together, and we'd paint and we'd draw. And then my high school art teacher that I was introduced to as a freshman, I fell in love with her. She was amazing. She taught me new things. It was so much fun. That's how I decided I wanted to be a teacher. And so now I'm going into my 29th year of teaching, and I've loved every year of it. So the Prairie Arts Council, kept asking me, do a solo show, do a solo show. So I decided, I'm gonna challenge myself to just do my own art. I tried to put my money where my mouth was, so to speak, because I'm always telling my kids, you should put it in this show, or I'm gonna take your work and put it in that show, or you should enter this competition. And I spent so much time developing their needs. So one day I just sat down and said, I'm gonna start with a 100-day challenge. I really doubted that I'd make it to 100 days, but I thought, I'm just gonna give it a try. So I started, and it was so much fun. I mean, it was such a release of anxiety and stress and everything that goes on in our daily lives, and I just kept going. I got to 100, and I'm like, I can't even believe I did it. But then I just kept going. I thought, I'll just see what happens. And I ended up doing a piece of artwork every single day on an index card for 365 days. The name of the show is Record, Repeat, Release. So I'll tell you how I came up with that title. First of all, my altar journals, which are old library books that I daily journal in about my life in general, those are my recordings. My index cards become repetition, or that repeating, because I'm making marks that repeat over and over again around my borders and on the cards. And then the release is kind of that emotional release, or getting into the zone of forgetting about everything around you and just creating art. In the exhibit, I knew I could fill up the gallery with just the index cards, but I thought it would be pretty boring seeing the repetition, even though it's a lot of pieces. So the rest of the things that are in here are the business cards, which are literally the size of a business card. There's about 100 business cards that are framed individually or in groups. My altar journals, which are made of old library books, I carry those with me, but I also have junk journals. They are hand-bound books that are made completely of trash. Old folders, index cards, tags, stationery, my kids' homework that are all bound together. So the show is pretty much comprised of those main 4 elements. I had a student, graduated 17 years ago. Her aunt brought her up here to see the show because she knew she was one of my students. She sent me this long email. She goes, here I am, a mom with 2 kids. Art used to be everything for me. I spent 4 years in your classroom. And she goes, how did I let 17 years go by? I am so inspired. She goes, I am going to be making art soon. And it was like, oh my gosh, that had to have been the most amazing email. She probably doesn't know it, but I'm like, wow, she's where I was a year and a half ago. The mom with the kids, not giving myself permission because I'm always doing something for somebody else. And to have her say, I walked in this room and I'm a different person because I saw what you're doing. I'm like, wow. You think you're inspiring as a teacher, but when someone says that about part of your soul, like my artwork is part of my soul, and to have her say that, that was the coolest thing. I am inviting my students. I'm letting my students know that they can come. I'm giving them an invitation. I've let some of my past students know. They always saw me doing demos. They didn't really see me doing a piece of artwork that I always finished. And that's something new that they saw this year. So I hope that I'm inspiring to my kids, not only in how I teach and hopefully how excited I am to have them in my room, but also now a new thing to bring in of now I'm making my own artwork and showing them that I'm not just teaching it, I'm preaching it, I'm doing it, I'm making it. I discovered my joy. I've always loved art. Teaching is so much fun. I love being around the kids. I love being an art teacher, but having that little thing that's all mine, I hadn't really had that as a mom and a wife and a teacher and a volunteer. Having that little bit opened up something inside of it. It ripped a hole in me, and I don't think it's gonna close. I don't think I'm gonna stop.